All right, we're back on the 944 land speed car. This is Gramp. Actually installing the catch can, but the problem was that I had a difficulty in the camera, and I did all of this thinking I was recording, and I wasn't. Um, those little teeny buttons on that camera is a little too much for me to handle. But anyway, it was kind of funny. I brought the card over, but anyway, it's a long story. But what I've done, uh, I'm going to try to point this to. I know this is a 360, and my son says you don't have to do this, but what I've done to get to this point, to update you with this, what I thought I was recording the other day, is I tapped these holes in the valve cover. They're 7/8 14 thread, and got two 90s, which the bottom of these have a nut on them and an O-ring, so that you can screw them in and then tighten the nut up to put it in the position you want. But I red Loctited both of these. Two number 10 90s, number 10 hose. This is, they call it number 10, but it's JIC. Both of these with 5/8 ID hose, and just the standard hose you get through Summit or whatever. The catch can is a Moronso. It's got a dual entry, which is probably set up for V8, with valve covers that one on either side. But I ended up, like I say, tapping both of these. I had to put the coils in. This bracket is just a one that my son made to duplicate but improve on the one that I built. I think it was 2 years ago. Even put the LSR, late start racing. You can also call it land speed racing if you want. But yeah, I got this all done. Unfortunately, it didn't get videoed, but I've got one thing. This is the drain on the bottom that I made so that we can drain this in between runs if we have to. Plus, when it goes to dyno, I'm going to monitor it. I'm going to put that in a pan or can or whatever to see how much oil we might be pushing through here, because these are not really baffled. In other words, they don't have baffles in there. They do and they don't. The inside of this not being set up for a vent through here. We're just going to monitor it and see how it works. I got a cover that's going over here. I'm going to set this down so I don't have to hold it. Making sure it's not going to tip over. Something like that. But I got a cover that's going over this, because what we were concerned about, the exhaust being right here, air coming by, if something ever internally failed in the engine and it decided to blow oil out through these vent lines and fill this up and blew oil out of the filter, it's going to go backwards onto the exhaust. So what I've got, and I'll show you, I'm going to finish that while we're standing here. I've got part of it already done. It's just a piece of 4-inch aluminum. It's regular. It's left over from my intake stuff. I've cut it. I've drilled a couple holes in it that are the same size of the number 10 nuts. Marked it out. So what I'm going to do is take this over the bandsaw and cut this out, so that this sets right down over that. And then we're going to put a cover on the top of it. But in the meantime, I'm going to go cut this out and come back with it. Get that out of the way. I'm going to make a bracket to store this. But I'll be right back. You'll hear the bandsaw running for sure. Now we hope it fits nicely. I'm not going to finish the whole thing right now, but that drops down over there like that. And what I'm going to do, if it's good, is I'm going to put a cover on it. And because the filter can be removed, of course, I'm going to drill a hole in the top of the cover. I'm going to go see if I've got a cover already, because I got a bunch of these pieces that we've punched out of aluminum that are about 4 inches. I'll be right back. Look at that. Just happened to have the right size because of all the, I don't think there's any kind of a configuration of form or, because I keep everything. I mean, everything that anything that hits the floor, I usually keep it. And so it's nice you can just walk over and find what you need, but that's going to go just like that. So that pretty much does all of this. And even on that last video that I didn't, I'm going to set this back out of the way here. Sorry about running around with it, but back in the other video that I thought I was doing, I was explaining JIC and NA fittings or AN fittings, I should say. I've always called them JIC because that's what I used to work with, all the hydraulic stuff. But AN actually stands for Army Navy. Back during World War II, somewhere along the line, they decided to get together and come up with one standard designation for a particular fitting, like AN 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. And they're still using it. Some people just say a number 6, like all the LP gas stuff that I built. Hoses that I put together for LP gas fuel systems, they were all number 6s. Most of the hose is 5/16, but all it is 3/8 flare, basically. But that's kind of like the history on AN fittings. These are swivels, so being 90s, everything fit nice. I put a bracket here. This is fuel line, which I'm going to finish once I get the fuel rail on. But this is done. I got to get my son to TIG that, because I'm not very good at it. TIGging either stainless steel and I think it's basically the glasses that I have, being able to see what I'm doing. That's what happens when you get older. And I have glasses that I do wear for that. But the other thing that I did, and I'm going to walk around this, I don't hope it's not too screwed up. We'll have another defugate. But I've also done the oil return on the turbo down into the bottom of the oil pan. That was underneath. Installed the alternator on the brand new bracket that's down in here that my son Forrest made. Got that all set up with the belts, power steering belt on, the new trigger wheel. Set up the I don't know if you can see that. I set up the Hall effect sensor on the trigger wheel, recalibrated the distance. And the other thing I did, not on camera, it was just a 5-minute job, is I reused the hoses from last year when I kind of jerry-rigged the pressure regulator going to the turbo. Talking with VS Racing, as far as these turbos, they don't want, this thing runs, 70, 80 pounds of pressure when you start it, and when you are running the RPM up, it's still right up there. But anyway, just hydraulic line. I was going to bracket this, but I didn't need to. And I've got it taped here. This is for clocking, line there, so when I take it down and have it crimped, it's at the right clocking angle there, so it's pretty rigid. It came out pretty good. And I've also added it's a 1/8 pipe by 3/16 ferrule fitting, and I'm going to attach a steel tube to that and come up into here with another fitting on it so I can connect up another sensor line. so that we've got the exhaust pressure coming out of the manifold, and we also have the exhaust pressure coming out of the turbo to monitor pressure before and after the turbo to find out where the problems are going to be, if there are any at this point, where we've increased the size of this. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And I've got the intake to do, the outlet of the compressor end. I've got to put the blanket on here as soon as these hoses are on and I decide where to route the wires, which I'll make another video about that. So, but that's about it for now. Unfortunately, the other video that I made didn't come out doing all of that, which was kind of fun to do, but oh well, I was talking to myself, I guess. All right, we'll see you next time. Come back again.